for 2 minutes to begin.
Thank you. My name is LaChapelle. I decided to run for state senate. I was born and raised right here in Lewiston, educated through the Lewiston school system. Became an entrepreneur in Lewiston, owned business. I own local businesses. I got into development, was a landlord, did all those things. Decided to run for city council, got elected, and I'm just very frustrated with the state of our state right now. One of my top priorities is dealing with the untreated drug addiction and mental illness in our state. Hands down, that is the biggest issue that's facing the state. I know the economy's bad, I know that, all these other things are bad, but we lost more people in the state of Maine due to drug overdose than we did to COVID. That's a staggering statistic. Interesting thing enough, we didn't close the state down because we were losing drug addicted people. We have not addressed the issue. This is the area that we've totally ignored this past couple of years. That has to be addressed. Once we address that issue, I truly believe that's going to have a profound impact on our homeless situation across the state. That's going to be a big issue. I'm all for a parental bill of rights for education. That's something I think is a must. It's been ignored way too long, and these are issues that are not happening just in Florida, California, New Jersey. We're having these issues, these problems here in the state of Maine as well, in the city of Lewiston. I believe in protecting women's rights in sports, Title IX. I guess I'm tired of the polarization also. I'd like to see the pendulum. I don't want to swing the pendulum to the other side. We just need to bring it back to the middle. They talked earlier about child care. That is another major issue that's affecting our workforce because you have, okay, I'm getting hauled off.
A question about workforce is what I hear.
Okay.
Great question, Council.
Ms. Rotundo.
Good evening, and thank you to LA Metro Chamber of Commerce and Central Maine Community College for hosting us this evening. My name is Peggy Rotundo, and I'm running for Senate District 21 to represent Lewiston in the Maine State Legislature. My husband Danny and I have lived in Lewiston for over 45 years. Our children, Nicholas and Anne, attended the Lewiston Public Schools. I've had the honor of serving the people of Lewiston on the school board and in the Maine State Legislature as a representative and a senator. My involvement in community organizations over the years range from the board of directors of the Chamber of Commerce to the neighborhood group that established Pettengill School Park for the entire community to enjoy. I've been out knocking on doors since April, and one of the questions I've heard many times is, why on earth would you want to get back into this? My answer is simple. Because there's a lot of work to be done, and I have a track record of representing this community well. I'm aware of the urgency of this moment for families in Lewiston. I hear it in the conversations I have at doors, the concerns that keep people up at night. Many people are struggling to make ends meet, worrying about the cost of keeping their homes warm, finding affordable child care and care for aging parents, paying for health care and further education for themselves. Business owners talk about energy costs and labor shortages. These problems go beyond politics and ideology. People send representatives to Augusta to solve problems and make lives better, not to point fingers. For 14 years, I served in Augusta, and during those years, I served on the Appropriations Committee and led the State Budget Committee, where I successfully negotiated unanimous, bipartisan state budgets with legislators from across the political spectrum. These budgets created educational opportunity, economic development, more money for city services like the police and firefighters, and tax relief for Lewiston people. They also prevented massive cuts to treatment for people suffering from substance use disorder, critical health care programs, and mental health services.
Well, that's
Time is very careful,
well.
and I asked Dawn if I could have 2 seconds. I've got 2 more sentences. I've demonstrated throughout my service to Lewiston that I can work with anybody. I'm respectful, I listen, I care, and I'm accessible. I learn and I adapt. And I will add, I have a spine of steel. Over and over, my hard work in these qualities have benefited Lewiston. The stories I've heard at people's doors over the years have informed every vote I've taken as a legislator. I will continue to take the hopes and concerns of Lewiston families with me to Augusta if I'm honored to represent our community in the Senate once again. Thank you.
Our first question this evening for the two of you is going to touch on a topic that you both touched on, but I think assigned different values to. So I'm curious to dig into that a little more. You spoke to the importance of housing as it relates to family and to community and to economy. I'd like to hear more about any housing policies that you'd like to see at the state level that would bring the type of development and growth that you'd like to see in the community you represent. We're going to start with Ms. Rotundo, and then we'll go to you, sir. Peggy, we're going to use 60 seconds to respond to this question.
All I can say is I have always been a strong proponent of affordable housing, and feel that the state has an important role to play in making affordable housing possible in local communities. I feel that the experience of people who are temporarily experiencing homelessness can be addressed through additional affordable housing, and I think it's important for the state to work with local communities to come up with additional legislation that will enable communities to have greater flexibility in bringing affordable housing to their communities.
Thank you. I have a concern with what just passed in Augusta this past year, the LD, I forget the... 2003. 2003, in my opinion, is a bad deal for any municipality. All of a sudden, Big Brother just told Lewiston what they have to do. That they have to change zoning, so they have to do this, have to do that, without getting the city council, the planning boards. They just issued their edict from on high. That's not how you govern. You don't issue those edicts. That was wrong, and I think that needs to be addressed, and that's going to cause major problems within every municipality in the state of Maine as far as affordable housing. We have to start lowering our utilities. Our electricity bill is crazy, and that is a direct relation that is directly affected to what the current administration has done for the last couple of years to subsidize everything under the sun and charge every other ratepayers and increase our prices. Affordable housing, we're looking at affordable housing, cost of fuel is coming in. All these other things are driving the prices up. Yes, we have a problem, and I think we need to address it on a local level of each municipality.
Thanks. Our final question, one that you both spoke on, both to your desire and your history with it. We have, as you had noted, seen politics become more partisan, even at the local level. What do you propose to do in office if elected, both with your constituents and your colleagues, to be able to support more bipartisan efforts across the state, as well as a culture of bipartisan civic engagement? This question begins with you, sir.
What you'd like to see.
What I'd like to see, yes, we can all get along and sit around the fire and kumbaya
But
and all
how?
that stuff. Undoubtedly, that's not happening because we have such a wide divide in philosophies and understanding that one side thinks when you're born and the doctor realizes that he might have made a mistake and he chose if it was a boy or a girl, and you get the other side that thinks totally opposite. How do you meet the middle ground on that? We have to try to strive to meet it, but there are a lot of polar opposites that are coming in. This total as Eric Brady was saying, the amount of money that's going out to the state, it comes from someplace, folks. It comes from someplace. We're running into a problem with finance. We have to sit in a room, lock the door, keep the press out, and keep all our advisors out, and sit around and talk, and be, I'm running against Peggy, but I consider her my friend. I have no problem with Peggy. We differ in different things. We've served on boards together, and we've agreed and we've disagreed, and we both have respect for each other. I think it's doable, but we have to get away from the media and get away from the people and just have it in quiet. Yes.
Thank you. Peggy.
I feel really strongly that it starts with respect. It starts with respect for people who might think differently from you. It involves listening. Listening more than talking. I really feel very strongly that it's possible to build a culture of respect and trust within a group of people. And I'm very proud of the work that we did on the Appropriations Committee when I served on it for 14 years. We voted out unanimous bipartisan budgets, and people told us at the beginning of every negotiating process, you're never going to be able to do it, and we always did it. And it was because we listened to each other, we appreciated our differences, and we worked through those differences. And in the process, we built a lot of trust for each other. So when people say it can't be done, I say, no, it can be done. And it starts with people wanting to be able to get along with each other and committing themselves to working with each other, and putting in the hard work that it takes to make that happen.
Thank you both for that hopeful response. I hope your vision becomes real for all of us in the room. Folks, a round of applause for our State Senate District 21.